It's Productions.
What's up, man? It feels good to be back in the studio again, doing the podcast, getting back in the groove of things. I'm so excited, man. Today is probably one of the most proudest days of my life, especially, man, I got some great guests in the house today. Man, guess what? They all kind of look like me a little bit. I think people tell them they look like me. I think a couple of them, they call me, they say those are my twins. So I don't want to steal their thunder, man. But as many of you know, this is my first time back doing the Good Grief podcast and just kind of get back into this groove. And so God had me in a space where I just need to take a chill for a minute and kind of regroup and recover and deal with my own grief in my own way. And so God has been gracious in that matter and given me the opportunity to do that. And so when he released and said, hey, you can go back and start doing your podcast, I was like, you know what? Who's going to be my first guest? And guess what? I got 5 first guests in the house. What's up, guest?
Hi.
Hi, y'all hear that? That's my youngest daughter. She's the most aggressive. She's the aggressor of the bunch, and her name is Madison. We're gonna go with Madison or Maddie. Which one? Which name?
We're going with Madison.
All right, we'll go with Madison. That's what's up. And so we'll go up the ladder here. So next we got my boy. What was that? Did we ask how old you were? I thought you would be it. Okay, so I think he fishing. So if there's any young ladies out there looking for a 15-year-old boyfriend, I guess that's what he's doing. He's 15. All right. That's RJ. RJ's in the house. His name RJ. Why are you named RJ? Tell the people, because they think it's Junior. It's not Junior. Tell them what it is. My middle name is Jessica, not her. Oh, shots fired. Okay. That's what's up. That's what, man, you gotta love them, right? So we're gonna keep moving on up the ladder. Who we got over here? Chastity. All right, Chastity. She's the one who thinks she's the boss.
She is the boss.
She's not the boss of me. And then we're gonna keep going right up the ladder here. Who do we have?
See
the kid in the house. She is in the house chilling, doing good. We love her. We're excited or whatever. And then she couldn't be with us. She doesn't live here. But you know what? We Skyped her on in, the oldest of the bunch. I was telling them before you got on, I said, this one here thinks she's my little sister. She don't think she's a kid. She's my little sister. Go ahead. Tell us who it is. Come on.
I'm Tabriana. Or Ty, whichever one you prefer.
Right, Tabriana or Ty or Ty, whichever one you prefer. Now check this out.
Or Rubina.
Oh, Rubina. Somebody told you that?
Brianna. Remember she called me Rubina.
Yeah. I wonder why. Why was that? So we were having an interesting conversation. We'll get into the topics of the day. We actually have some topics that we're going to touch on today, but there was an interesting conversation that Madison brought up that she said, what was that you said you didn't know her real name until when? What was that? What did you think her real name was?
I thought her real name was Ty until her wedding. We were walking into the wedding. And there was a big sign that said they were getting married, it said their names. And then it said Tabriana, and I was like, oh, I didn't know.
She's like, I thought we were going to tie with, who is this? That's what's up. Well, man, first of all, I really want to thank you all for coming in today and chilling with me and kind of diving through this topic that we're going to discuss further today. You all have interesting perspectives on this, and we've all kind of had some different conversations that I believe sparked a lot of what we're going to discuss today. So y'all ready to get in? Y'all ready to dig deep?
Yes.
I didn't hear nothing from RJ. Yes. He said he's gonna be a man of small words today. He said he's not gonna do too much talking. That's okay. We're gonna pull it out. So, what I would like to do is, we just gonna go around the room a little bit. Let me pick out RJ a little bit. Is that okay? You want me to call you RJ or Reuben? Or RJ. He's an RJ. All right, so I'm gonna pick up a little bit. So RJ, what is your understanding of grief? When you hear that word grief, what comes to mind? What do you think about?
When I think of grief, I think of like the process you go through when like someone passes you or something that might happen. Right. It's a process you go through. And yes.
That's what's up. Okay, cool. I like that. Miss Ty, help us out here. So when you think about your understanding of grief, what pops in your mind? Look, she already smiled. That's my happy child. She always smiles.
Pretty much what RJ said. The process of just going through a process of life, different emotions. Just things of that nature. He pretty much hit it.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say.
Okay. That's what's up. What do you have for us, Miss Chastity?
I think it's a process, and I don't think it necessarily has to be. The process always comes after something negative. Because you can be moving up in life and it can be changed, and you're still grieving. You can still grieve like what was more so. You get a new job with more benefits that it benefits you, but you loved your old job. Right. So like you're grieving something that was, that you lived in, but you're moving up. Right. So it doesn't always have to be.
So you don't always view it as negative. You view it as sometimes it's a change in that. Okay, I like that. What you got for us, Miss Madison? I know me and you had an interesting conversation, and I've been telling people about that conversation. So what you got?
I was gonna kind of say like what Chaz was saying, that grief doesn't always have to be like when somebody passes away. I can remember when I heard about this or whatever, but I was thinking about it when you asked that some people can even grieve like themselves, or you could be, say you're really sick or something, then you start grieving even yourself that you're gonna die. So it doesn't always have to be over someone else. It could be over other things.
Right. So in other words, what you're saying is that you can grieve the loss of things, the loss of situations, the loss of just life changes, right? So I wanna kind of pivot that a little bit, right? Because you shared a story with me about a friend of yours. And I kind of want to dive into that, and I'll pitch it and kind of talk about this. I'm sure we all got our own stories, but I wanted to kind of purposely bring this up with your friend. And can you tell us what happened with your friend, what situation took place, and what she shared with you, and then what you shared with her? Here's the reason why, because many people that may watch this here may be dealing with grief of losing a loved one, right? And so we want to be intentional and speak to that. So tell us again what happened with your friend. You don't have to say names, but just tell us what happened with your friend, what she shared with you, and then how you helped her move forward.
What happened was, it was one random morning, and we were on the way to school. Well, we had just made it to school, but we sit in our mom's classroom before school actually starts. Mm-hmm. And she called me. And I was like, why is she calling me this early in the morning? And I was like, this is weird. But I told her, I was like, I'm already at school. I can't answer right now, but what is it? Because obviously it has to be something serious if she's calling me randomly this early in the morning. She's like, oh, my aunt passed away. And I was like, what? Because I know she's really close to her aunt. So I was like, OMG. And she told me the story of what happened, and her aunt lived with her. So she said that she was about to walk out the door to go to school, and every morning, she says bye to her aunt, like she yells it. Her aunt is usually in her room, so she's like, "Bye, Nanny," and she was like, her aunt wasn't answering, so she was like, "Let me see, like, what's up." So she said she went back there to her aunt's room, and her aunt wasn't responding. She was like, "No, like, get up, get up, get up. I know, you know."
Right.
And so then that's when she had called me and her mom and stuff like that. And the ambulance had to come and all that.
Right. What did you told me she shared something with you, how she felt about the situation. You said something about she felt it was her fault.
Oh, yeah, she did. She was kind of telling me, she was like, what if I should have been there and stuff like this. And the fact that she found her, she just felt like it was more, not that she felt like it was her fault, but, you know, like a feeling of like,
what if I got there earlier? You know, what could I have done to change the situation, right? And you shared something with me that you shared with her. What did you tell her?
I don't remember exactly what I told you, but I was like, walking.
That's fine.
I was telling her, like, this is not your fault. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Because, honestly, she was sick, too.
Right.
This happened, like, over the night after. When they, like, were finding things out, they found out that this happened in her sleep. So, I was telling her that to not blame herself, that this has nothing to truly do with her. You know, there was nothing that she could have done to save her.
Right. So you all have touched on this a little bit too. When people are dealing in grief, you know, the first thing that happens is you start trying to figure out a way to assign blame. You know, who can I blame for this? Right? And there's people out there that's going to watch this podcast, they're going to see this, and they're going to be like, well, I'm going to blame myself. But the reality of it is there's no blame to go around, because God is sovereign. He can do whatever he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it, and with who he wants to do it with. And so, you know, I think that's a word of encouragement for someone. And based on what you shared with me, you know, that she received what you said to her, right? You know, you felt like you helped her kind of move forward, right? Because that's really what we are here to do, right? Because we've all experienced it, right? You know, we've experienced it on some level. So I'm gonna defer to Miss Ty right now, Miss Tata. Miss Tata, I know for a fact that, you know, you've experienced some grief, and in your experiencing of the grief, you have still been a resilient young woman, very resilient. And I just want you to talk to maybe somebody here, or maybe watching this, that's around your age range, that wants to hear of someone who suffered a loss like you suffered, that you can offer words of encouragement for.
Okay. My bad.
Are you over there like baking a cake or something?
I need to be. My words of encouragement would be.
Before you say that, I want to hear specifically. So here's what happens when we experience grief from a loss perspective of a loved one. There are people that have positions in our lives where they are very important to us, right? For one reason or another, doesn't matter what position they play or whatever, but they're very important to us. So what I want you to talk to is when you've experienced that specifically, and then how you move forward from that situation specifically.
It'll have to be my granny. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. As you know, my granny, that was my best friend. Like, you know, it was hard.
Right.
It was hard.
It is hard.
It is, and everything. I'm still grieving it.
Absolutely.
I can say to actually encourage somebody is just to, keep the memories, and that's the only thing that gets me through the day.
Right.
I have my moments where I'm at work and I can just break down or just be anywhere and break down. But, the memories keep me level headed because it was at one point in time, I just felt like I couldn't continue or I couldn't do what I needed to do. And I thought about suicide.
Right.
I did. But I knew what was that going to do? What was the purpose? So, you just got to keep going and, those memories, keep those alive. And I learned that actually talking to people and telling people how you feel once in a while, it helps.
Right.
Because once you keep everything bottled inside, and it's just like you just get angry and sad and depressed and just be in a little hole. But once I started opening up and like telling people how I felt, like I started feeling better, or I'll start to feel better. But it's hard.
Right.
Like I said, just the memories of them, just thinking all of the good times. That's the only thing that has gotten me this far.
Right.
The only thing. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. It takes a lot to be transparent in these moments, but I think it's in our transparency where, God's able to do his greatest work in the healing process. If you have a scab, they said, old folks say, if you have a little cut or something on your hand or your arm or something like that, and it starts to scab up, you want to pull that Band-Aid off, let the air get to it so that there can be some healing taking place. And I think in situations like this where we're able to sit around and have a little conversation, is where true healing takes place. So, one, I commend you for being that open and transparent about that because, what many people don't know is the name Tata came from Miss Jean. It's like Tata. So that's where that came from. So totally get it. Chaz, I'm gonna come to you right now because you and I had some conversation and you shared some information with me that you didn't really understand grief at one point.
So just some background on September 1st of last year. We lost our great grandmother on the mom's side. And then September 15th of last year, we lost our great grandfather. And I mean, we grew up with him. Right. Whenever my parents need somebody to watch us as little kids, we're going to my great grandfather's house. Like we were there all the time. And yeah, so my great grandmother died. She lived in California. I went there for her memorial, and it was kind of hard hearing the news. And I don't think I broke down immediately because it was a little bit for me to process. I got to see her before she passed, but I knew she was sick. So I could see it. So it was a little bit easier to process. But my great grandfather, the last time I seen him, he was perfectly fine until he wasn't. So hearing the news about him, I didn't cry because I couldn't wrap my head around he wasn't there.
Right.
At the funeral, I went to the casket and I said, I just need to see this so my brain can process that he's not here anymore.
Right.
And in the casket, he still looked like himself.
Right.
So we went to his house for the repast. I needed to go into his room just to feel that he's not there so my brain can process the grief. Fast forward to my birthday, which was September 22nd. And I cried maybe once.
Mm-hmm.
So on my birthday, my mom, who is my best friend, she was out of town. So I couldn't spend my birthday with her. My boyfriend was out of town. Couldn't spend my birthday with him. So I was just, coming home. And I just felt like I was alone, and my boyfriend surprised me. And I was feeling so many emotions. I felt happy that he was there, but I couldn't stop crying.
Right.
I was crying literally the entire time we went out to eat. I'm crying at the table, and I'm just like, what is going on? And it wasn't until after he left, after I let all of that out, that I realized how sad I was the entire time because I was out of it.
Right.
And I felt good, but I was like, man, for that entire month, I was just very sad. And I didn't even know when I was in it because, I felt like I was normal.
Right.
But when I came out of it, I was able to see, like, I was really, really sad.
Right.
And I didn't know it.
Right. Wow. So my question would be, if you could talk to someone, because you brought up something very interesting there, right? Is you were sad, but you didn't even realize you were sad. And then once you didn't realize you were sad, you didn't know how to properly even articulate it, right? That shirt you has on, listen to that shirt you have on. And Ty, by the way, your shirt they should be ringing your doorbell at any moment with your shirt. I apologize that you don't.
I thought I heard something, so that's why I took the thing out.
Is there?
Yeah, but I think it was the kids across the street. Hold up.
Okay, so the shirt that you have on it says Good Grief Fridays. What does that look like? Right? So you're just discussing how you couldn't describe it, right? And I've shared this with you guys before when I first even got started doing this podcast and started doing my Good Grief Fridays videos. You know, it all started because somebody asked me a question like, well, what does your grief look like? I couldn't explain it. I didn't know, right? It'd be like, RJ got these new J's on. It'd be like, man, what do your J's look like? You can describe it, right? What do they look like? Talk to them. What do they look like?
It's pretty much.
Oh, okay. But my point is, things that we can see, we can clearly see, it's easier for us to describe. Things that are feeling, and we're just like, man, I know I don't feel right. I know there's something missing, but I cannot explain it. That's a horrible feeling because if you are a person that likes to accomplish things, right, or feel accomplished about things, and you're in a space where you can't explain what's going on, that's a dark space to be in. And so, one, I commend you for that, being transparent. Even though you had shared that story with me, and I was like, man, I got to get you on this podcast. We got to talk because, one, I didn't know you were going through that, right? And clearly,
I didn't know myself.
Right.
In it, I was going through the motion. I'm going to work. I'm going to class. I didn't know something was missing until I had it back.
Wow, that was rich.
I didn't know until I wasn't sad anymore.
Wow.
And I felt different. I felt lighter.
Right.
I didn't feel as heavy.
Right. Wow, that's rich. You say you didn't know you was missing something until you had it back. That's rich. That'll preach right there. I'm going to put that on the message. I got to find a scripture to go with that. That'll preach. I didn't know something was missing until I had it back. Wow. So I want to transition as well because I want to hear from the great RJ. So, RJ, I'm gonna pose that question to you. Have you ever experienced grief as far as the loss of a loved one or whatever that looks like in your time? And could you share that with us?
Yes, I have multiple times. The most recent one was probably me. And then before that, it was, I think, my stepdad's dad and mom could have passed in 6 months. That was probably like the hardest one was those 6 months. Because we were like, well, his mom passed in June of 2021 or 2020. And then that was the hardest one because it it was such like it wasn't. She wasn't sick or nothing. She was just sitting on the couch and then she was eating and she choked on something. I was very ill. So she passed. So that was hard for him, which made hard. My mom was very hard for me, and we were close to her too. So it was definitely really hard. And then it was just a lot of stuff building up to that. And then when we finally getting back to our normal life, we had to go to her house every weekend. We're cleaning out and stuff. And then when we were just getting over that, dad passed in the hospital, right before the New Year. And his birthday is January 11th, my stepdad. So he was with his dad on his birthday. It was just a hard 6 or 7 months after that too. So yeah, that was pretty bad.
So how do you think you were able to kind of move forward from those situations? Because I think you and I kind of talked a little bit about that, and you were just saying,
well, when his mom passed, we were in Chad. We were in Austin. Yeah, because we were actually coming back, and it happened while we were there, but they didn't tell us. They would just call us like everything was normal. So then when we got back, and they told us that's what made it home. This whole time we've been talking to our mom and our stepdad, not knowing that his mom was not here anymore. So then when we got back, and they told us, me and Maddie started crying and stuff. Then it was just hard to realize that she's not here. But I feel like it's different for me when somebody's sick and they're in the hospital. It's expected sometimes. But that one was just happening.
right. So you think that for you, as far as processing it, sometimes it may be at this stage in your life, you can put a reason on it, right? Okay, well, they were sick, they were battling, but when it's sudden, it's like you find yourself still searching for answers of okay, now explain this to me again. What happened? I think that's rich. So you've experienced that. How old are you again? 15. So if you're sitting here across speaking with someone who is 15, that's experienced that type of loss, what would you tell them to encourage them? Again, we'll use the words to move forward, right? And here's why I say that, right? And we have to understand these things when we're dealing with people who may be experiencing grief. And this is what I find interesting that we're having this conversation today, right? Is that, all of us have experienced grief on some level, right? We've dealt with it on different levels, right? But it has affected all of us to some degree, right? I always say this is that when you are around people who may be experiencing grief, you have to always understand that your words carry weight. And we have to make sure that those are the right words because, Ty, you were dealing with something and you were considering, hey, I'm checking out of here. But if someone didn't come and say those right words, to pull you back, even if that someone was God speaking to you on the inside, say, girl, sit your butt down somewhere and go get on a trail ride or something and be cool, right? Right. But my point is this, right? Is because one of the things that I'm finding out in this grief walk, because each one of you have described something totally different, a different experience, right? You and Maddie, and you may have saw this on camera or not. I'm just gonna point it out for a second, but I'm pointing this out, Madison, because I just want people to be aware of what just happened, right? You described, some losses that were important to you, right? That you felt. You were describing them, and Maddie started crying. Or I'm not gonna say crying, but tears fell, right? Because it's a pain point, right? Now, the losses in your life represent the same, but the feelings are different. Here's what I say. I'm not discounting your feelings just because you're not crying today. That doesn't mean you don't cry. But here's what all of this looks like when we're walking through this trail of grief, right? there are days, like this shirt says, that I'm able to talk about it and not cry. And then there's days I can't even hear about it and I cry. I'm serious, right? It's because this is why we have to be careful. When people are grieving, we don't use words like, man, you got to get over it. And you can't tell me what to get over.
Right.
You can't, you getting over it is not even a reality. It's no way for us to get over it. What we look to do, what we try to do is to get past it. You said something, Chaz. And by the way, I'm working on a book. All right? And I'm going to put that in the book. I'll give you some credit.
Right, please.
Right. Matter of fact, I think I need to get you to help me with this. But you said something, and I don't want this to skim over what we're doing right here. You said, I didn't know what I was missing until I had it back. Now think about that. That is so rich. I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't know the piece that I was missing until I had it back. Let me show you what that looks like, right? Here's what that looks like. God, thank you, God. That looks like this. Sometimes we can exist in life to where we're just existing and just experiencing what comes at us. And here's how you know you missed something. You said when I got it back. I didn't even know what I missed till I got it back. Well, here's the switch that goes on. We are designed to continue to move forward. Right? That's a little kid, you got to crawl before you walk. We're designed to continue to move forward. But many times what happens in life, we'll stop moving forward and not realize that we're stagnant in the same space. Why? Because the world is still moving around us. And so we're watching the movement of the world thinking we're moving forward. And we're not. It's important for you or us to continue to have these conversations, talk about these things, because Madison, healing is painful. Healing is painful. I went and did this kickboxing class. All right, y'all look me up on Instagram. I kill it, right? You see my video?
That's what they call it.
Did you see my video? You didn't see it? I'm talking to you, Tata.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I said you said you was killing it. I said, is that what they call it?
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't see shit like on it, but whatever. But I'm in kickboxing class, and they said this. The guy said this, man. It resonated with me so strong. And he said, it's painful now, but this pain is going to allow you to get the results you want. Mm-hmm. It's painful now, but this pain is going to allow you to get the results you want. Here's what I say to that. When you're experiencing grief, talking about it is painful. Hearing about it is painful. But that pain, enduring that pain, is going to allow us to get the results we want. And what are those results? Is be able to grieve in a healthy space. Right? Because nobody's talking about it. Who do you know is talking about grief? Who do you know is talking about, hey man, I'm going through grief right now and I'm trying to dig my way out? Who do you know that's actually doing it? Who do you know, Max?
Reuben.
Oh wow. I am. I posted this on Facebook. I think Toss saw it. But I posted it on Facebook. I had a dream the other day. And I was like, man. And Charles came to me, Uncle Charles. He's the jokester. He's the jokester in our family, always joking. I think he gave everybody a nickname. Chassis, what call you? Sassy. So he come up with these names, but in my dream, man, he came to me and he was like, hey, are you okay? Or are you just acting okay? And I was like, man, I'm okay. But then I started thinking, I was like, dang, but I'm kind of missing my mom. Like, I always hear these stories where it's like, oh man, I was asleep and such came to me, and oh my God, I'm like, my mom ain't came to me. What's up?
She's come to me in my dreams many times.
See,
and sometimes they come together.
Really? Yeah, you told me that. And I was
several times.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I miss my mama. And he was like, here, come follow me. And I'm telling you, I saw it in my dream as clear as we're sitting right here. And we walked into this house, and at the table was my brother Sydney and Angie. They were sitting there. They didn't say anything to me. And I remember breaking down crying, and then my mom raising the oven up, wiping her hands off because she's in there cooking. And then she came over and gave me a hug, and she said, I'm proud of you. And I woke up, I was snotting all over the bed, I was crying. I was doing all that stuff there, but man, it made me feel good, because when I tell people my story, I don't tell it from a pity party position, because I don't look for pity. There's a lot of people out here that's in way worse situations, and I'm not in a bad situation. I've just endured some things. And I said, man, when you look at immediate family, the only immediate family I have is my children, and it's y'all. And so I value that. I'm not perfect. I'm not the perfect dad. I'm not the perfect guy. I'm not any of those things there. But I pray that I'm able to leave a legacy of information. And it's moments like these that we're able to create those legacies. And so, man, I'm proud of each and every one of y'all. Y'all all are doing amazing things, and y'all just so awesome. Wonder where'd you get it from?
God.
I can tell.
I agree with Chaz.
You agree with Chaz? Oh, amazing. It's the person. So when Ty was little, I remember her jumping in my mom's bed, her and Bree jumping in my mom's bed. That was like a big no-no, but she let them jump in the bed. That was funny. That's too funny. Man, this has been pretty good stuff here. Tell me what you think. What did you get something out of this? Do you feel like RJ, that RJ star, do you feel like you got something from this? If so, what would there have been? One last thing that you could share with somebody.
I feel like I never got to answer the question.
Amazing. Okay, go ahead and answer the question.
What would I tell somebody that's my age and I'll just, I had it.
Probably you trying to jab me by saying I didn't answer it.
Yeah, that's all.
Go ahead and answer my question.
Okay. So I feel like at my age, it's just trying to understand, why or why not. Just having a bunch of questions. And if you don't understand, you have to want to understand. I feel like you can't get past anything if you don't want to understand what we're doing. And that's really how I get past things. I try to understand, and I know that everything I don't happen my way, or
really close. I didn't even record that. I'll record that send to your mom. But
everything don't happen my way. So that's really how I get past it. It's not my way stuff.
That's rich. So how do you, what was the question? I forget. Yeah.
What I said was my age.
Oh, okay, cool. He made me forget. All right, Ty, what's your parting words of encouragement? We're gonna wrap this up. So what parting words of encouragement can you give to someone?
Talking to people, opening up and sharing how you feel instead of just balling it up inside. Also praying more and, talking to God and, like RJ said, like, trying to have more understanding, have God for understanding, like, guide me, help me. But most of all, just talking about it to people and, expressing your feelings and not hiding it. I learned that the more I hid it, like I can even get up out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started talking and opening up, I was able to get up and, go outside at least, something. But, just talking to someone and not just feeling like you're alone.
Right.
Because there's always somebody to help you or just somebody that's just there to listen to you. But, yep.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. What you got, Madison? Paige.
Am I answering the same question?
Sure. What would you tell a 14-year-old?
Well, I wasn't 14 when I experienced this. I'm going to tell a 12-year-old. And well, my uncle passed away when I was in 4th grade, and that was really hard on me. So I was like 9 or 8. I think I was 9. So I didn't really know how. I didn't know grief was a thing. But I was still like really young. So like to people that are that young experience things, because there's people that are even like fresh out the womb and already lost somebody. So what I would say is just don't beat yourself up about it, and not everything is always your fault, and some things you cannot control. And probably what Ty said is talk to God, because that's something I wasn't doing, because I was still so young, I didn't even understand anything yet. So even at my age, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Talk to God and don't beat yourself up about it. If something happens, somebody passes away or something, just even if you don't have somebody else to talk to, because not everybody does, then you can always talk to them.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Sassy. Now, I got a question. You say my mom come visit you all the time, like y'all best buds. What she be talking about me?
Mama.
You said she visits you.
Oh no, she don't talk about you. It's more like, I don't know. I haven't had one in a while, but it's usually like kind of like how yours was like words of encouragement. It's kind of like keep going or you're doing it right. Like, it was more so things like that. And like it always was like, I think the last one it was both of them, and we were having some kind of gathering at my mom's house, and I don't know. I think I was talking to Uncle Charles, and I was looking for a granny, and he was like, she's in the next room. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. It's usually worse than encouragement.
That's what's up. So what do you have for the 22-year-old?
Well, I'll say for anyone really, it's just to feel it. Feel the grief.
Right.
Like, don't
embrace it.
Yes, like you're gonna go through it. And I think with me, I was trying to, because I just couldn't understand that they were gone. So like I wanted to feel it, but I didn't know I couldn't understand it, so that was kind of hindering me from letting it out. Right. And feeling it, until I just had so much emotion built up that it just came out involuntarily. Right. So yeah, my advice would be to feel it. And also wanted to say, like, for I know that Ty was saying, like, talk to people and stuff. And I think that if you're with someone that's experiencing grief, understand where they're at. Right. Because, like, at my great-grandmother's memorial, I was in a place where I just needed to cry, and I didn't want anybody to talk to me. Right. And my mom kept trying to talk to me, and I kind of snapped at her a little bit. Right. But because I don't think she understood where I was at that moment.
Right.
So like it's good to get it out, but sometimes in that moment it's not your time to get it out.
Right.
And I couldn't talk. I just needed to be with myself. So I think it's important to understand where people are in their grief so you can know how to help them.
Right. Well, Paul says, I become all things to all people so that I may uplift my brother, meaning that, we have to be willing to get down where someone is. And to your point, is meet them where they are. And the only way to help meet a person's need emotionally is to know exactly where they are at the moment. Man, I'm excited. I'm so excited, you guys, gals, my humble over here. Took time out your busy schedules to sit in and visit on the podcast today. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it, Ty? Yes. Ty has Trinity beating on that door, talking about let me in. And,
I heard my mom had left and went to the store.
oh, okay.
She wasn't doing right.
But I just want to say that, this day we're going to keep this going. So I may pull you all in from time to time, so that we may be able to do this. And I just want us to be, able to just, number one, heal in our own space, but also be that person that's helping other people heal as well. All right. So, this is going to air. Your friends gonna see it, and I need y'all to post on Instagram and share and like this video. So those of you who are watching us right now, I need you to like this video. I need you to share this video. We're trying to get to 1,000 likes right now and 1,000 shares. So click like, share, let's go, and let's blow this up. Man, we've had a great time here on the Good Grief Movement show, and just got one question for you. What does your grief look like? Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Peace.